Hello and welcome to Train Sim TV. You join me once again for another retro video, and in today's retro video we are on the Blackpool and Fleetwood Tramway. It's one that's been asked off quite a few times in the comments on our retro videos, so I thought it's time to go and unleash the route. Basically, this is quite a close route to my heart. I live in the local area of Blackpool, living in Fleetwood. And also, I have spent 6 to 7 years also working on the tramway as a Flexity 2 driver. I don't do that now, but now I do work as a heritage driver, driving the old trams as a volunteer. So I now work for Just Trains, of course, within Train Sim. So I've been doing this for about it's coming up 2 years, to be fair, now in January. So yeah, it's been quite some time since I've drove a Flexi tram, but nevertheless, I still get to drive here and there, and I've just made a right mess up with that. Whatever that's doing, I don't quite know what it's doing actually. It's like inverted. It's going the opposite way to where my mouse is moving, which is a bit odd. Yeah, so we've got a brush car. We've got 622, and we are just passed out as a driver. So I think it's like this scenario is sort of like as a test going up to Fleetwood within the like a tram festival things going on, apparently, according to the briefing. So there's all sorts of trams out and about, not just the home fleet. There's some visiting trams, so we'll see quite a few apparently. So let's get ourselves in and get driving. Right, so I'm going to get my all my bits and pieces up here. There we go. We've got a massive plane going over the top, which is realistic. Starr Gate itself, which is where we're at, it's not quite true to life. I mean, the terminus here was a loop, but I'm not too sure if that's sort of like constraints within the sim and that, but let's go. So we can treat signals at amber to proceed past, but we do need to keep an eye out for any trams ahead of us on this run. So next stop for us is the Pleasure Beach. We're not stopping at all stations on this run. I'm going to have to keep an eye on my speeds, and I think the best way to do this is probably bring that down this side. So this is also a route that's been asked off quite a lot to show on the stream, or stream or videos if you will. So we are finally doing it. I think there's a tram just up ahead of us. I love that it's got the old buses and stuff like the Atlanteans. Used to get on buses like them to go to school before they sort of changed. There's a tram just up ahead, so we can't go too far up the back of it because otherwise we're going to have issues. There's a balloon car just coming up on the right side of us as well. Which one have we got? Let's see if we can spot the number while watching the signals at the same time. So we've got an unnumbered balloon. Helpful. We've got a Glasgow tram going by there. Same type of tram we did on our Crouch video, that. Not overly sure what tram we've got ahead of us. It's definitely not a Blackpool tram. So you can pick up this route on UK Train Sim. It's one of the disc copied routes that you can get. It's like £3 or £4. It comes with all sorts of bits and pieces. It comes with like an illuminations version as well, so it's actually got the illuminations, all the lights and stuff, which you can swap between. Also features a Tram Sunday as well, which is the Transport Festival. Got the Pleasure Beach, which is not quite true to life, but it's replicated. It's just missing the big one. We need to stop. There's a signal. I'm going to stop there for a minute. There's quite a big lineup of trams up ahead of us. I think we can go. So our next station is just coming up. Not quite at the stop yet. That was a compulsory stop to let people off. Our next stop's just coming up now. I think the loop's slightly different than how it was here back in the day. There was double lines going in and around. It's just not quite as it was. It's missing some track. Right, so we're doing a boarding procedure. I think it's just like sort of stopping in terms of like test stops. What we got here. So yeah, there used to be a double track going in on either side, so you can go in and back around in that direction. But the way this loop's been set up, it sort of comes in and goes back off in that direction, which isn't quite right. Some whacking tunes going on here. Oh, there's the bells. One thing that Train Sim Classic, what we play today, is Train Sim 2020 is missing stuff like fairgrounds like that. If MSTS can do it, why can't we get it on TS 2021? We don't really see anything like that. Right, so next stop for us actually is the cabin. About 3.2 miles away. That other tram ahead of us has actually got a bit of distance between us now, so that's good. It's just right up ahead down there, but we are clear for some distance now. It limits 20 miles per hour at the moment. So we're passing the site of South Pier. It's definitely replicating a bustling town though. There's all sorts going on. It's doing what it needs to do. And you can just see the tower in the distance just popping up now. Sort of like appearing into view. And there's a guy in a plane doing some acrobat stuff. Which is really cool. So many little scenes going on. Here he is again. He's doing something over the pier over there. So yeah, the track layout itself isn't quite right as it would be in real life, but you just got to use your imagination really. Number 14 bus. Rubber Sheet Hotel. There's some right comical names on these hotels. That's the Hot Ice Eclipse tram. Still 20 miles per hour currently. The actual speed probably won't change till we at least go past the cabin, where it opens up into the reserved area, where it becomes like track and ballast and a bit more like a railway. We're on the shared area at the moment, and we have a red signal as well. Looks like there's a tram just waiting to come off of Rigby Road there as well, off the shed. Another tram down, same tram as us, 622. Methinks they've used many trams that are the same. Just waiting for the track to change. Whether that balloon's going to come out in front of us or not, I don't know. Oh, no, we've got the road. Away we go. You can hear the plane now as well. That's some ropey flying, that is. That'd be sick. My God. Absolutely frightening. Oh, we can go again. We're just crawling at the minute. Just following this tram. I don't know where he's going to. I think he's going the same way, same place we are. Brannigan's, I remember that place. Used to be a bar on the front. We've got 702. We're all good to go still. So we're just chasing them yellows and reds at the moment. I think these sort of special trams are going as far as Little Bispham, where they'll turn back and go towards Blackpool, so once we get past there we should have a good clear run down. So we've got the centre line at the tower. This actually does not exist anymore. In reality there was a bridge here as well. And this tram in the middle line as well, I believe, is the one that's currently residing at the Ecclesbourne Railway, Derbyshire. it would appear that we are actually looping around, so that's good. This tram's going as far as the tower, as is 711. So we're coming up to the North Pier now, Metropole. Got Princess Alice coming as well, the open top balloon. 706. This definitely does feel like I'm going around the North Pier area. We've got the Metropole Hotel, which would be on the left here. Places like the Counting House and stuff on the right hand side. Some big seagulls. Speed was up to 25 miles per hour at the moment as well, which is good. Too good to be true though, as we now have another tram up in our way. So the Blackpool Tramway itself is 11 miles in length, end to end. The stops are massively reduced now. I mean, I think there was about 76 stops in one direction back in the day before the tramway upgrade took place. Now there's, I think it's 38. It was 37, but they added in Norbert North a couple of years ago. The service today is operated by the Flexity 2 trams, which are the Bombardier trams, which is the LRTs. But the Heritage fleet still run a healthy service quite regularly as well. Currently, at the minute, they've had to stop again for during the lockdown, but hopefully they can come back out and play again very soon. It's a massive shame that they have to stop. Well, safety first, everything that's going on in the world at this current moment. The route itself takes about an hour to get from one end to the other. And as with many tramways back in the day, there used to be a lot of inland routes as well. You had the Martin line, you had the Living Road route, you also had a line to Leighton, Dixon Road as well, which went via the North Station. Then you used to have the line that went through to Starr Gate and Squires Gate and all that. I don't think they actually joined up together properly. They sort of like looped off. They were never connected there. It was a big network back in the day. So we're just coming up to our next stop at the cabin. Bit of a climb now as well. I mean, the hill's actually not this steep in real life, but it's definitely replicating some sort of hill. Hoping we don't have to stop on the hill, because I think it might be a bit of a troubled start, to be fair, from there. It's quite steep. I mean, it's picking up power actually. We are gaining. Again, yeah, this is my hometown. I started work on the tramway in 2012 as a conductor for the first year, and then a driver after that for about 6 to 7 years. I left in 2019 in January, and then started doing the heritage operations later on that year. Started out as a guard at first, but soon progressed into the role of a driver. If you're ever in Blackpool, do go and take a ride on the fantastic heritage trams. How big are them seagulls? They're huge. Absolute monsters they are. Whoppers. Then eat your chips. We are a little bit late, but it's understandable. We have trams ahead of us. We can't overtake trams, unless there's that one in the middle. I'm just trying to get some form of screen grab. For the thumbnail. Now the only way I can do this, unfortunately, in MSTS is doing as a snipping thing, annoyingly, because unfortunately you can't, as far as I'm aware, you can't actually take a screenshot. Well, that'll do. We are good to go. That was the cabin. Next stop's Bispham in 0.8 of a mile. Now we're now on the reserve section. Bispham itself is about the halfway point to the route. There's a blimp. I don't think I've ever seen a blimp in Blackpool before. Some bizarre, absolute bizarre scenes you get to see on this route. Lowther Avenue. There used to be stops at every other lamppost. But again, they proper strip back the stops to aid in a quicker running time. That's the Miners' Home. The Miners' Home still exists today. It's now sort of, I think it's converted into luxury flats and apartments. Now Bispham doesn't have a Ferris wheel in real life. Cavendish Road was stopping at, I think, by lots of it. Oh no, we've got a green, we're good. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen a blimp flying across Bispham. It's 10 mile an hour here. There is a vehicle access point at this point in the route, hence the 10 mile an hour, and for also the point work. This track layout has changed somewhat over the years since the upgrade. The centre line's further down the line after the station. We're good to go again. We've got 701 in its route master livery. The 701 itself actually received that livery a couple of years ago under the Heritage Fleet. One I've only driven once, I think, in that livery and that tram altogether so far in my time on Heritage. So this is Bispham Station. Quite a good replication of the station model itself, I must say. Got the perfect shape for it. Again, we're going to be stopping here as part of our tasks. Now, you hear the two bells going off there. That means clear to proceed. Now, that's a mod I downloaded off UK Train Sim. It would originally say OK to proceed. I think it would say something like that anyway. I fancy downloading that because it gives a bit more of a true and a bit more of a realistic experience. Back to 25 as well in the moment. We now have a hot air balloon. Another sight I've never seen at Blackpool. Right, back up to 25. Next stop is Little Bispham in 1.1 mile. Madison Avenue there. I like that section of the route. It's quite well detailed on the house side. The seafront doesn't actually have bushes and trees, but I'll let that slide. To be fair, it would be pretty bare and desolate if we didn't have anything on it. Leyburn Avenue, another stop that hasn't been on the tramway for some years now. The tramway itself, the traditional tramway, shall I say, shut down in the end of the season in 2011. Came back again in 2012, April 2012 it was. I think it was the 4th of April. It came back as the modern tramway as we now know it today. First opened up with, I think it was a 20-minute service while all the trams were getting delivered. But now the whole original 16 trams are actually with the fleet running. And since then, 2 more trams came to the fleet, number 17 and 18. I managed to actually see number 17 get delivered to Blackpool, which was quite interesting. Very cold, that even though, gotta say. But nonetheless, it was very very interesting to watch them unload the tram onto the rails and all that. Yeah, very good. We keep losing trams and then gaining another one ahead of us. So we're just arriving at Little Bispham, almost. Hoping we get a clear run soon. Norquaid. red signal. Ooh, we just managed it. So that try ahead of us is definitely going towards Fleetwood. Whether he's going to turn back or not is another question. He can turn back either Cleveleys or Little Bispham or Fisherman's Walk. That entrance to the turning circle there is actually not quite right. You could actually go onto that loop from the line we're travelling on, so this isn't quite replicated correctly, unfortunately. This is Little Bispham though. Now I was working, I'm sure many of you will know and remember, I was working on the Blackpool Tramway for trains in 2021, or 2020 at the time. Unfortunately that project sort of hasn't really gone anywhere over recent months. I've still got the project. The issue being is we were going to go through just trains, but sadly the project was cancelled with JT itself. Never to say the less that I couldn't have continued it myself, but the lack of transport to drive with the route is the big setback really. So unfortunately at the minute nothing's come off the route. It may happen and it may come back one day, but at the minute it was just sort of have to wait and see really. Right, we've got the drop down to Anchor's Home Lane now coming up, so we need to keep our eye on these brakes because we don't want to be speeding. Some janky track there. Got a passenger view. Not the most pleasant to look at, but for the back in the day, this was cutting edge. This is Anchor's Home Lane. The next stop's Lauderdale. Oh, that bike's just been knocked over. Yeah, this is Lauderdale Avenue. So this section at the minute is not quite right. The roads themselves, the traffic would be going 2 lanes towards the north and 2 lanes coming southbound. As you can see, it's like one way each way in MSTS. just approaching Cleveleys. And Cleveleys was my hometown for many of years, where I grew up. When I first purchased this route, I was absolutely over the moon to actually be able to play the Blackpool Tramway. I was absolutely joyous with it. It was the best thing since sliced bread. I used to sit on this for hours, going up and down. Again, yeah, it's really nice to sort of come back and reminisce on this. Again, another route that sort of took off my MSTS experience. Now, which tram's this? Possibly looks a bit like 700. I think that is 700. Now 700 is the tram I passed my heritage test on as well, so that's another special sort of tram to me. And this is Cleveleys. So at this point, at the end of the station here, the road actually does come over, and the traffic will cross over, so that's where the dual carriageway begins. He's storming. The cars absolutely whiz around here. Biker boy's just been knocked over by the RAC. The police are here though, it's all fine. Perfect timing. And this is West Drive. We're approaching Thornton Gate, which is our next stop. And then we'll be stopping at Ash Street, and then the last stop will be Fleetwood Ferry. I mean, these station stops are so much closer than what they actually would be. This is Beach Road, another stop that's not here anymore. And then Thornton Gate is just up ahead. Now Thornton Gate itself doesn't look quite as it should. Missing some buildings, what would be rather noticeable, like the substations and stuff like that, but it's got the same sort of idea, but it's also got the actual old yard as well. And we're going straight through it, which is nice. Bet we've got another tram ahead of us though. We do. And I missed Thornton Gate station. That's bad. I'm too busy looking around at trams. Never mind. It's the taking part that counts. Rossall Beach. When I was little, I used to get on the tram here with my dad, and we used to go to my granddad's on a Saturday. We used to go to, I think it was South Fleet, another stop that's not there anymore, but it's a stop actually near to where I live now. With that tram ahead. I'm getting told off here because I've gone through a signal, but a line of sight it. The route itself actually works on line of sight in real life anyway, so as long as we don't hit any trams ahead of us and we keep a safe distance apart, then we'll be alright. This is Westbourne Road. Got another balloon ahead of us. We've got Rossall School coming up now as well. Rossall School is a big boarding school. Looks a bit like Hogwarts in reality. Don't think it's replicated as the actual school. It just looks like a school made out of apartment blocks. This passing loop on the right hand side at Rossall School, it was actually here in real life for many years. I actually sort of vaguely remember it when I was little, seeing it as I went past, but after so long it did get ripped up after many years not used. I think it went in like the 90s, possibly 90s, early 2000s, it might have been ripped up. If any of you guys know stuff as well in the, you can obviously feedback any of this sort of stuff, any corrections, stuff like that, do let me know in the chat below. I'm sort of going off memory and stuff that I can remember or know now. The signals are sorting themselves out again now, which is good. We're stopping here for a moment while the tram ahead just moves a bit further forward. Like he has. We're going to Rossall Square now. So this would be a compulsory stop as well at the road while you wait for the traffic lights to change. The station in today's world is on the other side of the crossing. I think as well it's the narrowest platform on the tramway, as it fits in between the very, very small gap between the houses. Right, next stop we'll be going through is Broadwater. So we're getting very close now to Fleetwood. It's only 1.5 miles to Ash Street. I mean, I don't actually think it's that far on the tram in real life, but it is what it is. This is was one of the worst crossings on the tramway. It was impossible for drivers to get across it. It could take trams up to 5 minutes to try and get across this road because it was such a blind spot. If you're going back out of Fleetwood, going to Fleetwood you can see a bit more, but no one would ever stop for you. No one would ever let trams go through. Like this now, look, they're all driving off. So again, all the traffic lights today are actually controlled by proper signals, which give trams priority to go across. Can't quite remember what this stop was called. This one was Southfleet. Yeah, this was Southfleet. But actually, Southfleet was a bit further down the line here. You used to have a little. The stop would be sort of in between the middle of nowhere, really, if you will. You cut in the middle of nowhere, but you cut through an alley. You'd be in where the houses are. It was a weird stop. You'd sort of like get off around here, then walk through the trees and through a little path, and that would have been the stop I used to get off at when I was little, when I was going to go see my granddad. Now the next stop coming up will be my local stop, which is Heathfield Road. In terms of today's tramway network, but there actually was another stop which is further down, which was Lingfield, which would, if it was still today, that would be my local stop. It's literally at the end of my street. So this is Heathfield Road. This would be Lingfield Road, and on the right hand side you would have the Fisherman's Friend factory as well. Not quite replicated as it would be, but that is where it would be. And you get a good smell of Fisherman's Friend from where I am as well. It masks the smell of fish, to be quite honest, which is a good thing. .5 of a mile to Ash Street. So Ash Street is just literally down this top end of this straight. just keeping a safe distance between this tram ahead of us. We do have it. Oh no, we have flipped to a green again. Stanley Road. This was another local stop to me at one point when I was a bit younger. I used to live nearby here and for a short while, and used to get the tram in the morning to school. The most bizarre tram I actually went to school on once was the trawler illuminated tram, and this was at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was fully lit, which was really cool. So I actually went on an illuminated tram to school once. That was the most bizarre one, I must say, to go on. One of the trams I've never driven yet, though, is the trawler. I've driven HMS loads. Absolutely fantastic trams to drive, as well as HMS. We're arriving at the fairground, that is Fleetwood, although it actually doesn't really look like this every day. I would not like to go on that carousel. It needs a warp speed. What's going on with that? Next and final stop. Oh no, it's not Pharos first, and then Fleetwood Ferry, so there's a couple stops. We're doing both stops. Not too far away now though. 0.7 to Pharos Street. Sort of in the theme of Tram Sunday here as well. This is where the Transport Festival takes place every second Sunday in July each year. I think it's third Sunday though these days, but I think it used to be the second Sunday. But yeah, you'd have tons and tons of vintage buses and cars and all sorts of stuff on display all the way down the middle of Fleetwood, all down the main road. Back in the day, trams actually used to run down at the same time, but health and safety and all that jargon now, basically trams do not run through the street during Tram Sunday, unfortunately. Which is a shame, but they do still run the heritage trams on a Tram Sunday up to the beginning of Fleetwood at Ash Street. You do actually get to see stuff like these traction engines and stuff as well. That people do bring them down. It's really cool. You get all the fairground rides as well, which are usually sort of at ends of each road. That's the tram tracks. So, in reality, there is actually a turning circle at Fleetwood, like a loop, like there would be at Starr Gate, but this, literally, you're going on double tracks in and then you'd have to cross over to come back out. It's not as it would be in real life, but I think it's down to limitations possibly with MSTS that you can't do a full circle, quite possibly. think they stopped on the curve. The North Euston Hotel coming up ahead, which you can't miss. So we're at the Pharos stop, and then we've just got to go down to the ferry, so we'll start wrapping things up really. But I hope you've enjoyed the video and a look back into one of my favourite routes of many years ago. I will put the link in at the bottom if you wish to do purchase this route. It's only a couple of pound, which is really cool. We need to wait for the all clear before we can go. I think there's a tram up ahead. Oh good God, what are we doing here? There we go. Just waiting for the all clear. In all seriousness, we might just end it here, to be quite honest. Pause it there. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you ever so much for staying and watching if you have done. And again, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back again with another retro video in a few weeks' time. I have actually run out of tram videos now to do, so we'll be going to the mainline scene for MSTS. Don't forget you can like, share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future videos, and don't forget you can catch us on Twitch. We usually stream once or twice a week. Just keep your eye out on Facebook and our YouTube community section where we post our plans and when we're going to do our streams. Do come along, do all sorts of bits and pieces, route building and driving, all sorts. Again, thank you very much guys, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.